This video will cover numbers 2, 6, 7, and 11. So number 2, the amount of soap lost after each shower can be modeled by this equation. N is the number of showers taken. What percentage of soap is used during each shower? So the question here is what percentage of soap is used. The equation represents the amount of soap that is lost, where N is the number of showers taken. So when we look at this, since this is the amount of soap we still have, 0.88 is 12% less than 100%, so the percentage of soap that's used or lost is 12%. On number 6, we have here a sequence where you're multiplying by 3. Find N when T of N equals this number. So T of N, to get to this number, you either have to keep multiplying by 3 until you get there, or you can write a formula for this. So if we're multiplying by 3, we would divide by 3 to get the initial value. And then you could guess and check in your calculator to see when you would get this value. So we only have 4 options here, so try all 4 and see which one works. When N equals 9, 2 times 3 to the 9th power, you get an answer of 39,366. So here this should say N equals 9. And all of these should also say N equals these numbers. Alright, number 7, we have a graph. X-axis is labeled N, the y-axis is labeled T of N. To figure out which equation matches, it might help to make a table since we're used to seeing sequences in a table format. So when N equals 1, T of N is 27. When N equals 2, T of N is 9. When N equals 4, so I'm going to skip the 3 here. So when N equals 4, T of N is 1. So we can see here that the pattern is dividing by 3. Just make sure it works. So divided by 3 is 9, 9 divided by 3 is 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that pattern works all the way through. So we have a geometric pattern. The initial value would be 27 multiplied by 3, which is 81. And then if you're dividing by 3, that's the same as multiplying by 1 over 3. Alright, number 11. After the launch of a new iPhone, the older iPhone loses about 5% of its resale value each week. An old iPhone is worth $284 the week of the launch. When is the last possible week after the launch that it can be resold for at least $100? So we know that the original worth is $284. To find the worth in any given year, we would multiply by, if you're losing 5% of the value, that means the multiplier would be 100% minus 5%, which is 95% to the nth power. And we're trying to figure out what week number would be the last week that it could be sold for at least $100. So this is a matter of guess and check. We're checking when we would get 100 as our answer. So in your calculator, you can kind of start guessing and checking when that would happen. So if you think it's 10 weeks later, test it out and check whether the phone is worth $100, but it's still worth over $100. So we need to guess higher. So 10 wasn't correct, it's either 19 or 20. So if you keep guessing, so do the next guess, 284, I'm going to guess 20 weeks. Okay, it was worth $101. So since it says at least $100, the phone is still worth $101 at week 20. That's the last possible week we can sell it for that much. You can always check 19 weeks to make sure. So 19 weeks later, it's still worth $107. So we know this is the last possible week, not this one.